Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Do to Study. So here I am again with a new video from the chapter First Phase of the Indian National Movement. This is the third chapter from history and this is the second video or the second part of this chapter. Okay, in the first video I have already discussed about early nationalists, their objectives and their demands. Okay, now in this video we will start with the methods of early nationalists. मतलब वो लोग क्या तरीका अपनाए थे अपने goals को achieve करने के लिए. Okay, now there are two set of methods, first set of methods and second set of methods. Now you will ask why there is two set of methods. The reason is that they had to achieve two objectives. Okay, the first objective comprised educating the Indian people. Okay, that is the wish that the Indians should be educated and they should have sound knowledge in politics so that they can form their public opinion. Okay, so for this purpose they educated the masses regarding politics and created consciousness among them. मतलब उनको aware किए कि हाँ ये सब जगह पे पूरे all over world में ये सब political related cases हो रहे हैं, ऐसा चल रहा है पॉलिटिक्स. उनको एक आइडिया दे कि पॉलिटिक्स क्या होता है, पॉलिटिक्स में क्या हो रहा है. ओके, सो इन दिस फर्स्ट सेट ऑफ मेथड्स व्हाट डिड दे डू, लेट्स सी. ओके, नाउ they held meetings, okay, in which several several Indians were involved. Okay, in those meetings they gave speeches which had these speeches constituted various things about politics, and these speeches helped the people to understand about politics and to get and to have consciousness about the politics. Okay, and furthermore various resolutions were also passed in these speeches. Second one, these early nationalists carried on criticizing, okay, that is through the press. They criticized the British policies that were against Indians, or the British policies that alienated Indians, that should alienate Indians. So they carried on criticism of the British policies. The third one is that they set up memorandums and resolutions and sent to the British government or the British Parliament to let them know about the actual conditions that is prevailing in India. Okay, now you will ask how it will educate the Indians. The reason is that these memorandums and resolutions were made after meetings, isn't it? So the people were aware that what was being sent in these memorandums and resolutions. Okay, and furthermore they had actual facts, that is point-to-point fact and arguments. They were filled with point-to-point fact and arguments. Okay, now let's come to the second set of methods. So, why this second set of methods were used? They were used to draw the British Parliament's and British government's attention towards the Indians' condition. Okay, so therefore this second set of methods were used. That is to influence the British government and British public, which means the same. Okay, now how did they do this? For this, they used 3 P's. That is, protests, prayers and petitions. Prayers, protests and petitions. So, they first of all, they will, what you can say, they will urge the British Parliament that you should do like this for the betterment of India. That is, they will be in a very calm tone to the British. Then after prayer it comes protests. they will, by using constitutional methods only, they will protest against the policies passed by the British. Okay. Now the third one is petition. That is, they presented petitions to the government. Okay. So in this way, they used 3 P's for achieving the to influence the British government and the British public. Okay. Now, a British committee of the Indian National Congress was set up in London in 1889, which published a weekly journal, India, to present India's case before the British public. One other method was that they set up a British Council of a British Committee of the Indian National Congress. That is, Indian National Congress branch, you can say, which was set up in London, and they published a weekly journal. It means a weekly magazine. And the name of that magazine was India. Okay. Now through this magazine, they let the British public as well as government know the grievances of Indians. Okay. The third one is that deputation of Indian leaders were sent to Britain. That is, from among the Congress leaders, some Indian leaders were sent to Britain to influence the British government, and so that these leaders who are sent to London can make the British government and British Parliament aware of the true state of India. Okay. One of the leader, that is Dadabhai Naoroji, spent most of his life in London itself, leading fight against British there. Okay. So this was the second set of methods followed by the early nationalists. Now you have to know one thing, that is, the early nationalists did not want to attain Swaraj, or what you can say, independence at once. They thought that we should give time, and slowly we should attain development, and we should we should regain the political power, or we should get the political power from the British to Indians. That is, India should be ruled under Indians, but it will take some time, and we will do it slowly so that there would not be much disturbances. And furthermore, they always relied on constitutional methods, and they did not believed in aggressive protests. Okay, so these were the methods of the early nationalists. Now we will see what are the achievements of the early nationalists. Okay, now these early nationalists were really successful. Okay, so let me write it here. Achievements of early nationalists. These early nationalists were really successful in creating awareness among the Indians regarding the political situation of India and creating nationalism among Indians. Okay, मतलब कि वो एक यूनिटी बनाने में बहुत ही ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल थे, और पीपल को हर एक जनता को पता चले कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या इंडिया का पॉलिटिक्स में क्या चल रहा है, ये सब जानने में इंडियंस को अर्ली नेशनलिस्ट बहुत हेल्प किए थे. ओके, एंड they made Indians conscious of the bonds of common political, economic and cultural interests that united them. They again reminded the Indians, although we belong to different states, although we belong to different creed, religion, but still we are united. Okay, because we share a same historical background. And they filled the hearts of Indians with the rich culture and history of India. Okay, the second one is that they trained the people in politics. Yes, as I was telling while discussing the, as I was saying while discussing the first set of methods, that is, they educated the Indians in politics. Yes, here also it was the achievement that they were able to train Indians in politics by introducing new ideas to them, like democracy. So these new terms, new ideas were instilled in their minds that gave them a spark that yes, we should get rid of the British and we should also apply such policies, such such things in our country too. Okay, so like democracy, then liberty. So some political consciousness was made among Indians. Okay, and secularism, nationalism, such things were instilled in the minds of Indians. Then the third one is that they were successful in making the Indians know the true nature of the British. What was the real face of British? Did they do any good to us? Or their rule was of any good to us? These all things were unknown to Indians. But the early nationalists made the people know about all these things. That is, they were successful in making people or in telling people that the British were doing many unjust policies. Okay. So by doing so, what did they achieve? They weakened the foundation of the British government. The people who had faith by seeing a false face of a British government, their faith was removed. And if people's faith is removed, then it's difficult for a government to rule in that country. So after this chapter, you can see that several uprisings were against the British. So this work done by the early nationalists is one of the reasons for it, isn't it? Now, the fourth one is that their political and economic programs established the truth that India must be ruled in the interest of the Indians. That is, India should be ruled by Indians. This was confirmed, or this was clear by the economic programs and the political programs laid down by these early nationalists. Okay, or you can say, in other words, that is what the Indians wish. In that way, the Indians should be ruled. Okay. The fifth one is that their efforts led to the following reforms. Many reforms were done by their efforts. What are they? The appointment of a Public Service Commission in 1886 and a resolution of the House of Commons in the year 1893 for the conduction of ICS examination both in London and India. If you will see, then you can remember that while presenting the demands, the early nationalists demanded that the ICS examination should be conducted both in India and in London simultaneously. So this was approved. Okay. And then appointment of the Welby Commission on Indian expenditure, and that is to see how this expenditure is done in India. Is it or much is money wasted, और मतलब कि ज़्यादा पैसा वेस्ट हो रहा है क्या आर्मी में, तो ये सब चेक करने के लिए वेल्बी कमीशन को अपॉइंट किया गया था. इफ यू रिमेंबर, देन व्हाइल रीडिंग द डिमांड्स वी रेड दैट the expenditure on the army should be reduced and that money should be used for the welfare of the Indians. It was one of the demands of the early nationalists, isn't it? So this demand was accepted and therefore Welby Commission was appointed. And for the Indian Councils Act of 1892. So these were the achievements of the early nationalists. Now, not only achievements, there are some drawbacks of the early nationalists, or it would be better to say as criticism. Criticism of early nationalists. How the early nationalists were criticized for some of their acts or some of their policies or beliefs. Okay, so let's see them one by one. See, the these early nationalists used constitutional methods. That is, they sent petitions and passed resolution. But this was considered as inadequate. That is, they depended or they believed that the British are usually just, but they don't know what is the actual affairs in India, isn't it? So therefore, these people, that is the early nationalists, presented petitions and drafted resolutions and presented them before the British so that the British can understand. But there was very less actions taken regarding the petitions that were presented. So from this we can know that the British were not just, isn't it? They only wanted that their interest was saved or their interest was very firmly established in India. मतलब कि British का अच्छा हो. This was the only motive behind their all policies. Okay, so it was criticized that the policy used by early nationalists was totally inadequate as they just relied on the generosity showed by the British and they did not have any strength of their own to stand against the British. It was one of the criticism against the early nationalists. The second one is that they failed to realize that British and Indian interests clashed with each other. Britain was using India's resources to increase its wealth. Yes, that's true, because they believe that the British are just and their rule will do good for us, isn't it? And they failed to realize that the interests of the British and the interests of the Indians are different, and these two cannot go together. The British just wanted to raise tax from India and develop their own country and develop and furnish their own interests. They did not want to do any good for the Indians. That is, they do not want to improve the life conditions of the Indians, isn't it? But whereas the Indians wish that their development should be done as they are facing many problems due to this high taxation and there were major famines in India. So from this you can see that the British interests and the Indian interests are really very different and they clashed. Furthermore, the British did not take any action to just give consideration to even consider the needs of the Indians. Okay, and the British only used the money of India for their own welfare. This was the second one. The third one is that the early nationalists failed to draw the common people. They, in their meetings, in their discussions or in their party, there were no common people. It mainly constituted the educationists or the literate Indians. Okay, and that too mainly lawyers, professionals, professors, doctors, etc. So these educated Indians or the educated mass of India were involved in the Indian National Congress, that is in the early nationalists of the Indian National Congress, whereas the Indian masses were totally unaware about all these things. Okay, that is, they were not successful in bringing the common people to their political party. So it was all about the criticism of the early nationalists. Okay, next we have to learn about Dadabhai Naoroji, Surendranath Banerjee, okay, and about these early nationalist leaders. But that we will do in the next video. Okay, till then, bye bye, take care and study well.